All right, today we are digging into something really fascinating. It's a white paper for a project called KaiChain, and its goal is nothing short of completely reimagining finance for an entire continent using decentralized tech.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's just start with the question that's at the heart of this whole thing. Seriously, what if your bank actually paid you to fight inflation, instead of you just having to sit there and watch your savings get eaten away by it?
Because for so many people across Africa, this is the day-to-day reality. You might get 2, maybe 5% on your savings, but when inflation is running at 10, even 20%, well, you're not saving. You're actually losing money. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has a massive leak. And the KaiChain paper says, okay, that is the fundamental problem we need to fix.
Okay, so let's get into it. To really get what they're proposing, we first have to understand the scale of the problem they're trying to solve. This first part is all about Africa's financial dilemma, the specific hurdles that, according to the paper's authors, KaiChain is built to overcome.
See, it's not just one thing. It's this whole stack of issues that feed into each other. You've got chronic inflation, just hammering the value of local currencies. You've got a lack of access to global assets like Bitcoin that could serve as a hedge. The local capital markets are underdeveloped. There are basically no good options to earn passive income. And on top of all that, you have what the paper calls extractive financial middlemen. When you put it all together, it creates a system where just building wealth is an uphill battle.
So with all those challenges on the table, what's the answer? Well, that brings us to the KaiChain proposal itself. The big idea, the core concept, is to anchor people's wealth to a completely new and hopefully much more stable standard.
And they don't mince words about it in the paper. Their goal is to create, and I'm quoting here, a new financial standard, one immune to local currency inflation and economic instability. I mean, that is a huge, ambitious claim. They're essentially trying to shift the entire foundation of personal finance away from these systems they see as broken.
Now, to understand how they plan on doing this, we need a quick explainer on the tech. It's all built on something called DeFi, which stands for Decentralized Finance. The simple way to think about it is it's financial tools, like saving and lending, but built on a blockchain, so they can run without needing a traditional bank in the middle of everything.
And that brings us to the core strategy. Instead of tying your savings to a local currency that might be volatile, the proposal is to anchor everything to globally recognized digital assets. We're talking about things like Bitcoin and also Core, which is the token for another major blockchain. The idea is to build a more resilient foundation for your money.
Of course, a big idea is nothing without practical tools. So now we're going to look at the actual products that Kai proposes to make this vision a reality. This is the how part of the plan, a whole suite of what they're calling smarter tools for building wealth. The white paper lays out a whole bunch of stuff, but you can really boil it down to 3 simple steps. Step 1 is about protecting your money and actually growing it faster than inflation. Step 2 is about planning for the future, with things like pensions and insurance. And Step 3 is about unlocking new value for businesses and for the whole creator economy. Okay, let's break down that first step, protect and grow. Kai proposes this thing called the Y Token Vault. You can think of it like a crypto ETF that holds Bitcoin and Core, and it's aiming for some pretty serious yields, between 15 and 28%. Then there's a stablecoin called YBOB for just stable savings, pegged to the dollar, targeting a 6 to 10% return. And maybe the wildest part is that it's all AI-powered. An AI agent is supposed to automatically hunt down the best returns for you, so you don't have to be some kind of DeFi genius to use it.
All right, on to step 2, planning for the future. This is where it gets really long-term. They're talking about DeFi pensions. You could lock up funds for anywhere from 2 to 100 years, and the longer you do, the bigger your yield bonuses get, potentially pushing returns to a projected 20 to 50%. Then there's DeFi insurance. Get this, your premiums go into a pool with other users, and that money also earns a return for you. It's a world away from the traditional model where you just pay your premium and hope you never need it.
And finally, step 3, which is all about unlocking capital that's currently trapped. So for small and medium businesses, they could basically turn their real-world assets, like their inventory, into a digital token to get an instant loan. And for the creator economy, there's this idea of social yield farming, where creators and even their fans can earn rewards just based on community engagement.
So we've seen the problems, we've seen the tools they're proposing to fix them. Now for this last section, let's zoom all the way out. What is the potential big picture impact here? According to this paper, how could a system like this truly change the game for African finance?
And this is where it gets really dramatic. When you put the traditional banking model right next to what Kai DeFi is proposing, the difference is just staggering. You're looking at potential savings yields of 12 to 48% versus 2 to 5. Instant loan processing instead of waiting weeks. It's open 24/7, 365, not just business hours. And this is a huge one. You control your assets, not the bank. It's a completely different world.
I mean, that's just a massive potential for growth. The white paper is projecting yields that could be up to 10 times higher than what you'd get in a typical savings account. The whole point is to flip savings from being this defensive move against inflation into an active way to generate wealth.
And look, it's not just about what you can earn, right? It's about what you get to keep. By cutting out a lot of the usual middlemen, the paper suggests that fees could be slashed, potentially by 50% or even more. That means more value stays right there with you, the user, instead of going to some big institution.
So what does this all add up to? What's the end game? Well, it builds towards this incredibly grand vision. A future where, according to the paper, every citizen could be earning double-digit yields on their savings, where businesses can get capital instantly, where creators can actually earn a sustainable living from their work, and where financial inclusion hits 100%, all through a simple app on your phone.
And that really brings us to the final, thought-provoking question. Is this a realistic blueprint for a decentralized continent? A true pathway to economic empowerment for millions? Or is it a dream that's just too ambitious, too complicated to actually build? One thing's for sure, the KAI Chain White Paper doesn't lack for vision. It really leaves you wondering what the future of finance in Africa could look like.